And the Kookaburra is a fun little guy because he has such a stout little fat body. And so we're going to begin with the basic shape. That's always how I like to begin a drawing, is the basic shape. And I always told my drawing students light until it's right. I'm going to draw a little darker so y'all can see it. But I'm going to start with a fat little raindrop kind of going down. The point is down here. So, usually raindrops are falling down, or teardrops, if you will, are falling down out of the sky. We're going to make it so that it's going up at an angle, just like that. That is an arrow. Okay. That is our Kookaburra body. And once you've done that, given him a fat little body, then the next step is to give him kind of a bulbous little head that comes out up here. Okay. Now we're going to draw the beak. You'll notice that I erased that section. That's up to you. Okay. The beak is kind of going to go up at this angle. And if you want to draw a little directional line just to kind of help you, that usually helps me. And then later I can erase it if I need to. All right. So we're going to start with the top of the beak. The top of the beak will come out and then kind of down like that. And then it'll come to a point. And then there's this kind of thicker area. The nice thing about Kookaburra beaks is that they really do vary in shape. You'll see some that look a little more like bananas. Some are a little bit longer. I'm going to shorten that one just a little bit. But they always come to a point like that. We're going to get some overlap. And maybe curve it up just a little ways up into a little bit of a smile. Okay, it's kind of a goofy shape. Overlaps onto the face a little bit thicker up here. Okay, now the lower beak. The lower part of the beak is pretty thick, and it kind of curves up just underneath. There's a little bit of an overbite. This top part of the beak comes down, and the bottom part of the beak comes up just underneath it. And it's going to go rip. We're going to leave a little bit of space in between the two parts of the beak. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. Kookaburra eye is perched right back behind the beak and trying to get a really round circular eye. And inside of that round circular shape is another little circle for the pupil. You can shade that in. Oh, and our poor Kookaburra has to breathe. They have like a little slit right here by the head, and that's their nostril. So where the point of your upward glancing teardrop is, and we're going to give him tail feathers. So it starts off with just like a little rectangle that comes down, and then a few lines there. Often Kookaburras have a dark little fringe on the bottom. Add kind of a wing shape. We're going to start right about here So let's say the teardrop comes up here, a little bit in from the very top of the teardrop. And we're gonna go. You might want to draw, some little feathery texture things. I'm just doing these little tiny marks. They're very soft. They're just like little U's. Little soft U's, just kind of. And maybe a little shading at the edge to kind of suggest some texture-y stuff happening there. I'm going to come out here a little bit with a couple feathers that kind of stick out past. They're from the wing. And when wings are folded in, it's amazing how tight to the body they can go. So these are just curves. These represent some of the longer feathers that would be at the tip of the wing. And then there's some kind of medium-shaped feathers, some kind of U shapes through here. And then up here, it's almost like little smiles on a smiley face. Okay. And usually their wings are darker than their tummies, and so I'm going to just lightly shade over all those detail things happening. Okay. Kookaburras also, like raccoons, have kind of a mask. They're going to have, we'll kind of make it curve a little bit to give them kind of the suggestion of kind of a cheek or something. But then we're going to shade that in. Just this dark area that follows back from the eye. Sometimes there's a little bit in front of it, in front of the eye. And then the back of the kookaburra head often is kind of a ragged shape. It kind of looks like they have kind of this, some of you older audience members are familiar with the idea of a mullet. That's where the hair is long in the back and kind of short in the front. Kookaburras are the original mullet. So kind of jagged, raggedy. And sometimes when they get really agitated, maybe a little bit of shaggy up here. Okay. Oh man, our kookaburra doesn't have feet. Let's give the poor guy some feet. I'm going to shade down here. Often there's a little bit of shadow in here. Whenever you have an area that the light just wouldn't quite get to, it's helpful to shade it just a little bit. And then down at the bottom, we'll give him 1, 2, 3 little bananas. These are his front toes. And a little ways away, 3 more bananas. Little tiny claws on the tip of each one. They have 1 toe that goes back and 3 that go forward. And then often their feet are pretty dark, so I'm just kind of shading them in a little bit. And in the classic Kookaburra song, they sit up in an old gum tree. So I'm going to draw a branch for this kookaburra to rest on. And you can make your branch however you want, or maybe don't make a branch. Maybe make something totally different if you want. In the words of the late, great Bob Ross, it's your little world. Okay. Let me erase some of these extra little things happening. Okay. From here, I would probably spend a little more time thinking about light and shadow. So in this case, the light is coming from up above, it's shining down, and anything that's facing downward on the Kookaburra, like his belly. His belly is hanging out over the swamp or whatever, and it's going to be in shadow. Same with underneath his beak. And sometimes kookaburras have different coloration on their beak, like the top part of the beak will be dark and the bottom part will be light. It does really help to look up pictures of kookaburras to help with this. So if you kind of feel stuck, if you're like, Joe has really confused me this time, that's okay. You can either replay this video and slow down, or you can find your own pictures of kookaburras and try one out.